Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wednesday, June 15th, 2016. It is the Comic Haul, my weekly show. I'm trying to make it weekly. I've been doing pretty good about doing it weekly lately, so hopefully I'll keep up with that. Anyway, my name is Dylan Lang. I have a show on the weekends, I should say, because it's been a lot more Saturdays and Sundays, but usually it's on Sundays at 12:30 p.m. Called Dylan Knows, where I talk about everything under the sun. I'm having another episode of this weekend. I think it's going to be Saturday night, though, because Sunday is Father's Day, and we've got plans going on. And also Monday, June 20th, is my birthday, so I'm looking forward to that as well. So that's why I called today's episode the Birthday Haul. I actually bought a book for myself for my birthday today on the haul, and I've been reading it already, and it is going to be one of the best books of the year, and should win some Eisners or any of the other comic book awards that come out there as well. So without further ado, what is this show about? Well, my other show, I talk about whatever I feel like. This one, I just talk about what I buy at the comic book store. Now, there are other stuff that comes out today that I didn't buy. This is just stuff that I bought because I want to read it and try to convince you guys to go out and read it yourself, or find stuff that I didn't buy, but you might be interested in buying as well. But let's get started. This is the Comic Haul. So first up, DC is undergoing its rebirth, continuing. It's going to continue all the way through the fall, actually. So you're going to be getting periodic Titan, or rather Rebirth books, Rebirth #1s here, and then you'll get the regular series about 2 weeks later, usually. Well, this is the last one for June, even though there's another month left in June, or another week left in June. This is the last straight up just Rebirth book. It is Titans Rebirth. It's good to see the Titans coming back together, not the Teen Titans, but the original Titans, the older generation of the sidekicks. So you've got Kid Flash, who, as we know, if you've read Rebirth, has come back onto DC, and he sports his new costume now. You also have Nightwing, Donna Troy, Aqualad, and Speedy, and apparently there's some mystical Lilith, I think was her name, because this is, when they were the Teen Titans. And then, they grew up and they are, let's see if we can find a team shot of them. They are the New Titans. So it's should be an interesting book. I love Wally West. I'm glad he's back in the DC universe. But I also like Brett Booth's artwork, especially when Norm Rapmud is doing the inking on it. So Dan Abnett is the writer, Brett Booth is penciler, Norm Rapmud is the inker. I think they are the creative team for the series itself. So it should be a lot of fun to check it out. I think it's gorgeous. I love Flash's new costume. And I love the fact that Nightwing is back, and we got a new version of Aqualad, and just all kinds of great stuff. So it looks like a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to that. So Titans Rebirth is the last Rebirth book for June. In the back, they have a checklist for coming up in July. In July, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 rebirths in July. So this is the last one for this month. Continuing on that, all these books that I'm about ready to show you had their rebirths a couple weeks ago, and now the first issue of their new versions of the comics are out. So let's start with Batman #1. This is another Batman #1. The last one they did was for the New 52. This one is the variant cover. This one's drawn by Tim Sales. The reason why I got it, because I like his work on Long Halloween. It's Batman versus his Rogues Gallery, but it should be interesting. But this is the actual comic. So this is the regular creative team, the regular comic. So from this point on, there's no more Rebirth. It's just Batman. It says Rebirth at the top. It's just as they tell people, hey, pick it up now. It's part of the Rebirth. It's written by Tom King with art by David Finch and inks by Matt Banning. So Finch's artwork is usually pretty nice. He has had a problem with being on time, so we'll see how well this is, especially with the 2-week window they have. So we'll see what happens. But we'll see if a lot of people love Scott Snyder's take on Batman. I started off strong, but I was a little less impressed how it closed out. So hopefully maybe Tom King will have a different aspect of it. So check out Batman #1. This is the one I'm actually a bit more excited about, Superman #1. This one's written by Peter Tomasi and Patrick Gleason, who Patrick Gleason does the artwork with Nick Gray, his usual inker. So just gotta love the 2-page spread. It's Superman that we all know and love, the one who's married to Lois, and apparently they have a son now who's showing aspects of superpowers as well. So I guess that's going to be the first storyline. But Peter Tomasi is a great writer. His run on Batman and Robin is legendary, along with Patrick Gleason. So gotta love that. So look forward to reading that. I'm also excited about this one too. This is Green Lanterns #1. This book focuses on the 2 new Green Lanterns, Jessica and Baz, who are the ones who are on Earth while Hal Jordan and the rest of the Earth Green Lanterns are out in space, and they'll be showing up later on in the Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern Corps series, which is coming out in July. So we'll check that out as well. But this is written by Stan Humphries, I think. Is it Stan Humphries? Yep, Sam Humphries, with art by Robson Roca and art by Jay Leaston. And again, you gotta love the splash page of the 2 Green Lanterns. It's sort of like a training day with the young rookie taking on the veteran, kind of grizzled veteran, but in this case, they're kind of both rookies because they really haven't had a lot to do in the Return of the Red Lantern. So the Lantern Corps, other Lantern Corps are going to be making an appearance and things. So, and just looks, some all kinds of creepy alien type stuff going on. So it should be a lot of fun. Really looking forward to reading this one as well. That's it for the Rebirth books. Now, here's a problem that DC's been having with their whole Rebirth thing. They're trying to jump on the gun to try to get Rebirth out on time. And in some cases, and I think this is the case, they've had some books that were running late that came out after the Rebirth thing. So maybe they were hoping for a Rebirth just to be the new Rebirth stuff, but they still have stuff lingering from the old 52. These are 2 that I've actually, when I got back into comics, I was able to get caught back up on and loved them. And these are the final issues of the miniseries. So this is Poison Ivy, Cycle of Life and Death #1. Gorgeous cover. Love the cover. Yes, because of the, yeah. And it's written by Amy Chu. So you have a female writing Poison Ivy with pencils by Al Barrionuevo and Cliff Richards, with inks by Sandu Floria, Scott Hanna, and Cliff Richards. So you got 2 different art styles in there, and you can get, looks like you can get appearance of Swamp Thing in here. But let's see if I can get a good, some good Poison Ivy stuff. And so it was a mini series written by a woman. Her take on Poison Ivy. So, and apparently Swamp Thing. So, which is very funny considering that I also have Swamp Thing #6. The 6-part miniseries written by Len Wein with art by Kelly Jones, who I love. I mean, he's so distinctive and so great when it comes to horror stuff. So if you love horror, this one brings about a lot of the horror fans. This is Spectre's in this. Zatanna's on the cover. Phantom Stranger's on the cover. So you gotta love it. Ooh, the Demon's in this also. So you got a lot of the supernatural characters who I absolutely adore in the DC universe, and I wish they'd do like a bring back Justice League Dark, because that was such a great series. There's Zatanna. So Swamp Thing #6 came out this week too. So that closes out Swamp Thing and Poison Ivy. So will we see a new miniseries then? Who knows? But for all in all, they were good series, good artwork, good stories, and you may as well collect them in trade and read them that way. Or if you're lucky enough to have a store that might have some of the old ones, the old floppies, pick them up. That's it for DC. Well, except for one thing, but I'm not going to hit that till later. Oh, wait a second. No, it isn't, because I made the mistake, because I am silly. Sorry. Let me fix this real quick. All right. I still got 2 more DCs, actually. One is, we talked about this book last month, Scooby Apocalypse #2. DC has decided to revamp the Hanna-Barbera characters into more modern day things. This one is the Scooby-Doo version, where instead of fighting people dressed up as ghosts, they are taking on the apocalypse, and they're more modern take on it. But what's great about this book is written by Keith Giffen and J.M. DeMatteis with art by Howard Porter. So Keith Giffen and J.M. DeMatteis are great and well known for their Justice League series, combining comedy and drama together in action. And so we get some pretty good Scooby-Doo stuff. It's a little bit different than you're expecting, but at the same time, it still keeps its, spirit in there, and Jim Lee cover, so you can't beat that either. So Scooby Apocalypse #2. And finally, I've talked about this book a million times. I'm going to keep talking about it a million times so everybody reads it. This is one of those books that if your store has weekend sales where you can pick up trade paperbacks, buy one, get one free, whatever, you need to pick up the Astro City trades. The newest issue of Astro City comes out today with Alex Ross cover. Astro City #36. It's written by Kurt Busiek with art by Ron Randall, and Alex Ross is the cover artist and creator. Such a great book, taking a look at how regular people handle living in a city filled with superheroes, and then you also get to focus more on the superheroes' lives as well, and behind the scenes stuff instead of them just fighting bad guys and moving on to the next fight. This one focuses more on their story. I think in this case, the clown superhero has to fight his child, who's the other one. So pretty interesting. So Astro City there. That's all the DC till I get to the big one. We've got 2 #1 books from Marvel this week. We've got, well, we'll start with this one as well. Han Solo. Speaking of female writers, Marjorie Liu, with art by Mark Brooks. It takes place, I think, after Star Wars, so the artwork looks really, really nice. I think it looks pretty nice, pretty gorgeous. And Han Solo gets his own series, a mini-series, much like all the other series are, Poe Damerans and the stuff like that. And the character looks like a Harrison Ford. And you got Chewbacca in there, and you got, just a fun, looks like we're into a fun little adventure. And here's Princess Leia, so she knows she's still in there too. So definitely pick up Han Solo #1. The other #1 is, it's an election year. Of course it is, because that's all that's been going on for the last year or so. Even the election is until November. And it's been one of the weirdest and most bizarre election cycles, and one of the scariest, actually, to be honest, and still is going on strong. But can't go any worse than this. Let's vote Loki then. If you don't want to go for any of the presidents that we got now, vote Loki. This is #1. Christopher Hastings is the writer. Langdon Foss is the artist. And I know very little about it other than it looks like Loki is going to be running for president. And we'll see what he does. It's probably going to be a take on, what's going on right now. I wouldn't be surprised. It's funny, actually. He can change sex so he can run as female if he wanted to also. So, all kinds of stuff. So it should be a fun read. So I would definitely check that out. Also from Marvel, we have Black Widow #4. Mark Waid and Chris Samnee did a wonderful job with Daredevil, and now they're doing the same job with Black Widow. I started with this at the beginning, so it's good to have a Natasha series, because she totally deserves one. She also deserves her own movie. But when you get Mark Waid writing her with Chris Samnee artwork, you cannot go wrong. And a lot of it looks like without words as well. So gorgeous, gorgeous art, gorgeous story. You need to check out Black Widow. We'll see how longer I keep doing this, but money's starting to get tight again. But I had to, because it's the 2nd issue of Civil War II is out, so I had to pick that up too. So that's out today. If you were interested in the big crossover going on in Marvel right now, written by Brian Michael Bendis, with artwork by Dave Marquez. And the artwork is really nice looking. I'll give it that much. And Bendis is a pretty good writer, but we'll see. Civil War II just seems like a cash grab for me, and I shouldn't be surprised about it. But that's what I think it is, though. So check it out, Civil War II. Pretty good. Now we get the independents. I got a few independents, and then my big book that I got for my birthday. From IDW, we've got the Back to the Future Citizen Brown series. Back to the Future has its own series. It's fantastic. It's more of a fact comic where it says frequently asked questions about what happened, how did Marty and Doc meet, how did Doc's house blow up, and so on and so forth like that. This one is taking a little bit further. This is taking them on adventure through time and space. And so Marty and Doc are back again in a time travel story that spans 1986 to 1931 to the future and back again. So written by Bob Gale, who was the writer of the actual Back to the Future movies. It's also written by Eric Burnham, a script by Eric Burnham, art by Alan Robinson. Now, apparently what's interesting about this is it's based on the Telltale Games hit video game, which I guess is coming out or is out or whatever. So if you play the video games, this is a good comic to follow up on. But if you just want a good Back to the Future story that's not connected to the, I guess, or maybe it is connected to the Back to the Future comic, which is really good, by the way. You should check it out. Pick that up. So that's issue 2 of Back to the Future, Citizen Brown. Aftershock has been a very surprising comic book company. They've got some good stuff up. And the next one is Black Eyed Children, or Black Eyed Kids #3, Joe Pruitt and Simon Kudransky, which is gorgeous. Once again, gorgeous artwork and creepy atmospheric horror. The Black Eyed Children are a supernatural myth about kids who seem to be able to control your minds, and that you can tell that they're bad by their black eyes. So it's very dark and creepy, horrific. So like that. But yeah, Aftershock's got some really good stuff. Some of the writers they've got: Frank Barbary, Adam Glass, Patrick Olaf, artists Ray Fawkes, Dave Hine, Joe Pruitt, Marguerite Bennett, Amanda Connor, Jimmy Palmiotti, Justin Jordan, Garth Ennis are all members of the Aftershock family, and there's always more Aftershock books coming out. So always check out an Aftershock book. They're really good, especially Rough Riders, which I really like a lot, and Insects, which I really want to get into. So I'm waiting for the trade to come out with that, and I think it's coming out soon because I got into that one late. So. Of course, again, I talk about Astro City all the time. I'm also talking about this book all the time. I got the last copy today, so I'm very excited. So I don't have to wait till next week. This is Manifest Destiny #20. They're continuing their Sasquatch story. Again, for those who haven't heard about how much I've been screaming about how good this is basically an alternate history where Lewis and Clark, when they're exploring the West, discover all kinds of supernatural creatures in the wilds of America before America was settled. And this storyline deals with their style version of what a Sasquatch is. So it'll be covered that. And beautiful artwork, great storyline. It's written by Chris Dingus with art by Matthew Roberts and Owen Gianni. So that's it for the comics. Now for my special birthday present, and then I'm going to leave you all to your week, the rest of your week. When this book was announced a while back, it was a Vertigo book, which had Batman on the cover and the Joker, and it's like, and written by Paul Dini, and I was like, what is Paul Dini doing with a Vertigo Batman book? And what is a Vertigo Batman story? How can you do one? Because he's in the real world, because the Batman doesn't really show up in any of the Vertigo books. So I was, intrigued by it, and then I really hadn't heard much about it. And then saw that it came out this week, and then I read a review of it that someone did, and I was like, wow, this is totally not at all what I was expecting, but I really want to check it out. So today, and I recommend this, it is a hardcover graphic novel, one-shot. It is Dark Knight, a true Batman story, an official graphic novel written by Paul Dini with art by Eduardo Rizzo. Now, what's interesting about it is look at the cover. It looks just like, typical Batman Joker storyline. Probably going to have this guy be a pawn in the Joker's plan, and Batman's going to stop him, that type of thing. No. I did not know about this. This is an autobiographical story about Paul Dini, who was beaten almost to death coming back from, I don't know, walking home one evening. Let me just read a description. In the 1990s, writer Paul Dini had a flourishing career penning the hugely popular Batman the Animated Series and Tiny Toon Adventures. It was a golden era of television screenwriting, and Dini and his fellow writers were at the forefront of the glittering Hollywood scene. And one night, everything would change. Walking home one evening, Dini was jumped and viciously beaten. With several broken bones and a shattered face, Dini experienced an arduous recovery process, hampered by the imagined antics of the villains he was writing for television, including the Joker, Harley Quinn, and the Penguin. But despite how bleak his circumstances were, or perhaps because of it, Dini also always imagined the Batman at his side, constantly chiving him along during his darkest moments. So this is an autobiographical story from Paul Dini with wonderful artwork by Edward Rizzo, which is done only in a Paul Dini style. You could do it. I started reading it. It is amazing so far. Using all kinds of aspects of Paul Dini's life and leading up to his brutal beating, which we do see in the book, in his recovery. This book is going to win a lot of awards, I think. It's got all the seeds to be one of those great award-winning comic book stories, like a Blankets, which went absolutely crazy in the Eisner Awards and the other comic book awards they have out there now. And this, to me, just looks like it's going to get nominated and it could win a bunch. I'm reading it right now just to be sure, but it would not surprise me. It is $23. It is a hardcover one-shot, but you know what? I want to read it. Paul Dini's a great writer, and Edward Rizzo is actually a really good artist when it comes to, he has a very distinct style, but he changes it up a little bit in his in the book. So absolutely stunning artwork. The story is probably going to break you down and hopefully raise you back up. It's my birthday present to myself, and I'm going to read it tonight, maybe tomorrow, finish tomorrow, and maybe I'll write a review of it on Goodreads. So check it out on Goodreads. It'll probably be posted to my Facebook page, Dylan Lang, obviously, when I'm done writing it. But I can just see this. Remember this book. This book is going to be around a lot during award season, and it's probably going to win a lot too. And I can't wait to see it, read the rest of it, and see what's going on. So hopefully it's good. So if you want something different, as I've been saying before, go to comic book stores. They're not all comic books. They're not all superheroes, rather. They're horror. This is like an autobiographical. There's crime. There's supernatural. There's historical. Whatever you want to find, you can probably find in the comic book store. If you have a good comic book store, they order everything. My comic book store has a rack for DC, Marvel, Independence, family-friendly ones, rack for new trades that they get and magazines that they get. Then they've got racks of the old comics, Marvel and DC, going back two-issue-ish that you need to pick up if you want to get picked up. And then there's the independent section. Then they also have spinny racks for other independents as well. And then they've got their back issues in the middle, and they've got back issues on the wall. They've got a trade section. They've got, for Marvel and DC, they got a trade section for independents. They got a kids section. They got Funko Pops all over the place. They've got glasses. They've got baseball cards. They got gaming stuff. They got special covers that have the name of their store on it. It's got all kinds of stuff just throughout the whole store. You need to go to these stores. You need to find stores and see if they have this kind of stuff. And if you don't want to read about superheroes, still frequent the stores, because there's a lot of interesting stuff like Dark Knight or Blankets or Underwater Welder. Those are all ones that have won awards before, which are not your usual comic books. So go to your comic book store. Do me a favor. My birthday's on Monday. It's Father's Day weekend. I think this will be a crappy weekend here on the East Coast with rain. But come on, go to your comic book store. Pick out some of the books that I showed you. There are a bunch of ones. Green Arrow #1 came out today. I didn't buy it because I really wasn't that interested in it. I might pick it up later, but I need to watch my money. There's another Civil War crossover miniseries, the X-Men, which I don't really read the X-Men now, so I don't want to buy it if I don't have to, because I'm not going to read it. There's some crossovers. Deadpool, the new issue of Deadpool crosses over with Civil War 2, and there's some other Marvel comics that cross over with Deadpool. And there's other Justice League 51. They're finishing out their because they were behind, they were late, so they're finishing out their run before the Rebirth, and stuff like that. So there's a lot of other stuff that and there's a heck of a lot of independents out there, which I haven't been reading, but I've been hearing nothing but great news and stories and stuff like that. I don't have the money or the time to do it. Another good thing, Clean Room, the trade paperback volume 1 written by Gail Simone, her Vertigo series, got its first trade out today. I was going to buy it, but I was like, I don't have enough money to do it, so maybe I'll pick it up later. Squadron Supreme, another new Marvel comic, their first trade came out this week too. I want to pick that up as well sometime, so I will maybe eventually. But yeah, a lot of stuff I didn't mention is out today. So this was just the tip of the iceberg. Go to your local comic store, find something you might like. I highly recommend, though, you probably will like this. Even if you don't like Batman and the Joker, if you like autobiographical type of stories, I think Dark Knight is going to be right up your alley. If you like historical, Manifest Destiny is going to be up your alley. If you want to go back to Star Wars, Han Solo #1 looks gorgeous. Can't wait to read it. If you want to get back into DC Comics, the Rebirth stuff's coming up. So, and #1s. So, lots to choose from. So, take your father to comic book store this weekend. There's probably going to be Father's Day sales. Take yourself if you're a father, or have your kids and your wife or your husband take you to the comic book store for Father's Day. It's up to you. But just go, buy some comics, and hey, buy some comics on Monday too for my birthday. It's also the first day of summer on my birthday. So that's all I got today. Join me probably for Dylan Knows on Saturday night. Probably I'm going to go down to my sister's Saturday night, or Saturday during the day. Hopefully I'll be back in time to do it. A small, nothing real big episode of Dylan Knows. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do. It's a solo one, so it'll be just me talking to you again. So hopefully by then I'll be able to get a haircut, but I highly doubt it. All right, guys. Thanks for listening, and go read comics. I predict right now it's going to win lots of awards. So you might want to pick up on it now before it comes out on trade. Bye.